All right. Last class we finished up moral object, intention, and circumstance. Got a question here. If you are lying to your friend about something someone said about them so that their feelings will not be hurt, is that morally okay since the intention is good but the act is bad? No. It's a good question, but what was taught last class was if the moral object is bad, the action is bad. In that case, you don't have to lie. You can simply say, I don't think you should know. Trust me, when I say you don't want to know, I'm not going to tell you. And if your friend's bitter and upset about that, I mean, that's life, but it's not an excuse to lie. So no, that's not a justification. Okay, now we got a bad connection. All right. So today we are going to cover the principle of double effect and answer the question on the board. What do you do when you have to make a decision? You have to make a commitment. That looks good. No, I've had plenty, and I got some myself. But where was that from? I'm not familiar. Not too far. What do you? That's funny. What happens when every option available has a bad effect? In other words, there's no scenario where you could do a total win. You know, that is answered. Oh, okay. I'll put it back up. It, it's restated again in the definition of the principle of double effect that I'm about to give you. But we're talking about very rare. Well, I don't know about very rare, but rare circumstances where you have to make a moral decision, but there's always going to be a bad outcome. You know, there's always something bad, and you basically have to pick between two good things. How do you make that decision morally? And this is the the principle of double effect is going to, and that's the goal of today's class, is going to give four. That's poorly poorly scribbled there. There's four guidelines to help you make the right decision. This is authored, you might say engineered, by St. Thomas Aquinas, the principle of double effect, giving us four specific guidelines, really, to determine when it is morally permissible to perform an action. When is it okay to do an action knowing full well that there's going to be an evil? Maybe even somebody will die from this decision I'm going to make. How can I possibly make this decision? In such scenario, we have the principle of double effect. And what I'm going to give you today is maybe 3 or 4 instances where you have to choose between two goods. And starting on the next slide, where I'm going to give you a video. We're going to watch up a video for 4 or 5 minutes. It's a fictional story. And then I'm going to ask you, how would you make the decision in this difficult circumstance? So you gotta make a decision. He hasn't. He's paralyzed. He's frozen, and perhaps so are you. You have about 5 seconds to make a decision. Come on. Come on. By now it's too late anyways. But there we go. All right. I don't know if we can get an 18. I know we got 3 people. One more person, maybe? Hey, there you go. Pretty split. Pretty split. All right, scenario number 2. Much different, but you love this game. I know it's emotionally gripping. For the following scenario, ladies, pretend that you're the one pregnant, married, life's gone perfectly. This is not perfect for some of you, but you got your family coming about in life. Guys, imagine that it is your future wife that is pregnant. Go for the ultrasound at 3 months, and doc says that there is cancer in the uterus, uterine cancer. Baby's fine. Baby can continue to grow and be fine. But your wife has cancer in the uterus. The baby still got 6 months in utero. Doc says if you want to fight the cancer, you want to defeat the cancer, we got to take out the uterus. We got to take out the whole system that contains the cancer. We can do this. You're going to lose your child. Or you can leave the baby in there, allow the baby to grow. Baby is likely to be born healthy in about 5 to 6 months. At which time, after the birth of the baby, we can do some procedures, but the cancer will likely have spread elsewhere. It'll probably be too late. Low chance of survival for your wife. Ladies, for you yourself. What would you do? Save yourself / mother, or save the baby? I really don't know why I have so many connection issues today. Yeah. $18, anybody? 18, number 18 coming in on 18? All right, thank you very much for playing. Pretty split. Again. All right. So you've got an idea now of what I'm talking about. These are life and death scenarios that I'm giving you, but there's no way around the fact that something bad's going to happen. There's no way around it. So the following 4 points going up on the board are the 4 elements or guidelines of this is the principle of double effect. These 4 things. And it's going to help guide us to make a decision in these hard times. Number 1 is that what you are doing cannot be intrinsically evil, like we talked about last class. Okay, so even in this scenario, you're not allowed to do things we talked about in lesson 2, I believe, yes, such as fornication or abortion or any of the like. The act must be good in and of itself. So let's break down both scenarios you voted on today, or cast your opinion on. For the first one, we've got a bridge master needing to choose between a train and a sun. What is the action he's got to do? Either lower the bridge or not lower the bridge. Neither one of those is intrinsically evil. It's actually his day job, So we're fine either way there. When it comes to, and it gets a little tricky right here, for the cancerous uterus situation, some of you might have thought, oh no, that's an abortion. You can't do that. It's actually not. The moral object is not an abortion in this case. An abortion is a deliberate removal and with the primary intention of being the ending of the pregnancy. What is happening here is a hysterectomy and the removal of a cancerous uterus. That is the moral object. That is what you're doing. you are not performing an abortion. The loss of a baby is a result of the hysterectomy. So that's what you're doing. You are not doing the abortion. The baby is the byproduct. So far, you can make either decision morally. Okay? Now, let me give you a third scenario. Somebody has a threat on your life saying, if you don't kill that innocent person, I'm going to kill you. Is it morally justifiable to kill somebody if your own life depends on it? Because it's homicide. Homicide is intrinsically evil. You cannot do that. You got to take the bullet in that case. Number two, the good and the bad have to come from one action. And this is going to take some more explaining on my part. It has to come from the same action, the same movement. The evil must be a byproduct of this one somewhat good action. So, what I mean here is there is one action, lowering the bridge. That's one action. With that one action, you both lose the son, save the train. One action, good, bad result coming from one action. Remove the cancerous uterus. One action. Save mom, lose baby. It's one action. The good and the bad come directly from one action. Can you kill somebody? I know we've already answered this scenario. Can you kill somebody to save your own life? No. Because as soon as you kill that person, apart from it being intrinsically evil, that doesn't necessarily save your life because the guy can still kill you. So you don't save your life by killing another life in this scenario that I paint. So you cannot, for reason number two, you cannot kill an innocent person when somebody's got a gun to your head. Let me give you an example, a second example of how this would help us judge what to do or not to do. There's a high school girl, and she has approached high school with the idea that you should not drink. My parents have asked me not to drink. I want to maintain their trust, so I don't drink alcohol. That's her disposition. But her crush is kind of a regular drinker at the parties. They're talking, and she's very excited about this relationship. She wants to move forward. And she knows that he would enjoy it, of course, if she joined him in drinking. So she right now has to choose, of course, between her morals and her parents and her family and this prospective boyfriend. You might say principal double effect. You got to pick between them. No, because in choosing yes, I will drink, she does not immediately get the relationship unless he says, have this drink and we will be official. Okay, that's dumb. Okay, don't ever do that. But that's the idea of having that drink does not immediately give you the good result that you're looking for. So it's not justifiable because the good is not guaranteed. The agent, that means the acting person, cannot intend or approve of the evil that's going to come from their action. You cannot want it. So in the bridge scenario, let's say the bridge master was a mean-spirited guy, racist guy, and said, oh, that train, that's coming from that country. I hate people in that country. I'm just going to let the train crash. I could care less. He's guilty. You know, he can't hide behind the fact that he's saving his son. If you actually want them to die, you're just as guilty. If the doc comes to you, gentlemen, and says your wife has a cancerous uterus, you're going to have to choose between wife and baby, and you say, oh, we were going to have an abortion anyway, so go ahead, take out the uterus. You're guilty. You cannot want the bad effect. That's the easiest one, because usually you don't. If you're ever perplexed about a situation, you don't want one thing or another. And number 4 is the hunch that you probably had when we started today's lesson, which is, well, you just got to weigh them. And you got to look at the outcome. Is one good greater than another? They have to be proportionate. The good obtained and the evil lost. The more grave the evil, the greater the good that is to come from it. So, what we're talking about here is on the bridge, you got a train coming. That train's got dozens or hundreds of people, and there is little chance of survival for any of them with such a serious crash on such a high bridge. Okay, you've got to consider the fact that that's hundreds of lives versus the one life of your son. I think you have to lower the bridge morally. I think you're morally guilty if you do not. Now, what would any of us do in that circumstance when we actually do have 3 seconds to make a decision? Nobody knows. I'm not saying this is easy. I can't tell you what I would do. God forbid I ever have to see one of those situations, or you and anybody here ever have to see those situations. But you got to go that direction. You got to be able to make that objective decision that you got to save more lives when possible. So, all right. Cancerous uterus situation, you have a baby made in the image and likeness of God. And you have mom made in the image and likeness of God, 2 human beings of equal value and dignity. It's proportionate. It's equal. I don't think there's... Thank you. Whatever you decided for that question, I don't think you're morally guilty. I think you're guilty, like I said, if you leave the bridge up. But you can choose one life over another. It's equal of value. That being said, the Catholic Church has canonized St. Gianna Molla, who chose to carry the pregnancy, give birth to baby, and then she died from an illness contracted later. And the Church canonizes that and says that's heroic. That's laying your life down for your child. That's everything Jesus taught us. And so the Church exalts that, applauds that. Yeah, you can go. And but that's not a moral obligation. That's a call. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So that's the scenario with the cancerous uterus. You can make that judgment call. All right. No questions, no thoughts. You're gonna break the record for the with the baby and the mom. Okay. Why? All right. Well, thank you for your contribution. This is lesson 3. Yeah. You okay with that? I think for the second one, like if you have other kids already, you'd be laying your life down for like if you chose to keep a baby, you'd be like taking yourself away from the other kids that you have. And like